Hi, my name's Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. Today I have a fun card for you. It's a little different if you've been around Stampin' Up! For a long time, for as long as I have. It's reminiscent of a stamp set that we had way back in the early 90s. That was a fireplace builder set. It was really popular back then, and you know, everything that's old is kind of new again. That country look is really popular again. We don't call it country anymore, we call it farmhouse. So I'm going to be working from it. It's from the August to December holiday catalog, and it is called the Fireside Trimmings bundle. It's on page 20 if you have the catalog. If you don't have the catalog, then let me know. I'd be happy to send you one if you're in the US. The fun thing is it will work with the mini Stampin' Cut and Boss machine when we get that. We don't have it available yet, but when we do get it, you'll be able to use it with that. The other fun thing with it is that it will do all seasons. And so I do have an online class coming up with it. And in that class, we will make 4 projects, and one will be Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, because you can get all of those out of this fun little set. So be watching for that. I have a new registration system. I have been working so hard to find something that will be better for me and for you, that will send you a confirmation, will send me a list of who's in what class. So I'm not always trying to figure out who's signed up for what. So I spent a huge amount of time, far more than I cared to, the last few days trying to get that set up. So now that I have that in place, I'm putting the classes in there. So this week, all of those classes, so that everything's been a couple of days behind because I've been trying to get that in place. And I've done a couple, and then I've had a girlfriend and my husband both register for classes on platforms that I've tried, and they're expensive. And I don't want all of my money for my classes to go to pay other people just to get that done. So right now I've been using nothing because I didn't want to pay other people, but it was getting too much to handle. So I had to pay somebody. So I've been working on that. So this class, you will be able to register for it before the end of the week. So if you're interested in taking it, and all of my classes will, well, not all, but most of them, 2 things. Most of them, if you are a demonstrator and you sign up under me, you get to take most of them for free. And most of them also have just online access. If you are a demonstrator already, you can pay just for that. Or if you have already bought this set from me or from somebody else and you just want to watch the videos, or if you live in another country and can't buy this stuff from me, you can just get the videos. So this one's called Fireside Trimmings. It's so cute. I want to show you some of the pieces that we won't be using today because there are other pieces. Like this one has little holly garland, has a little bat garland, and then a star garland. So actually you could make a summer one as well if you wanted with the stars. So none of those garlands will make an appearance on our fireplace today because we're doing a fall one. So I'm using, and this may be a camp card for those of you who come to camp. We'll probably do this actual card at camp in September. So this is what we're gonna do our stamping on. It is shimmery white because we're coloring with blends. And then I have some soft suede. I have this piece here, which we'll go ahead and put together just so I don't lose everything. So this is vanilla cardstock, and then we're gonna mount everything on our actual card on Pretty Peacock. So let's go ahead and do this. It's kind of not the order I usually do it, but so I don't have all these vanilla pieces here floating around. So here's our Pretty Peacock, and then here's our soft suede. It's just kind of getting some colors of fall. Who else does that? It doesn't matter which side that you do this, but we flip the page over and the paper over and adhere the other side, even though both sides were the same. So get this on here. And then I'm going for a shiplap look. Our bedroom is a really fun farmhouse, and we have shiplap in there. So shiplap wasn't a look in the 90s when we were doing country. So that's why I say it's a little farmhouse. So for this, I'm going to take, this is cut a little bit smaller than the next layer down. So this was 5 1/4, a smidge less, by 4 1/4, a smidge less. And then this is a smidge less than that. And then this is a smidge less than that. So you just gradually go down from everything. But I wanted you to be able to kind of see this. So I know we often rough everything up. This is not, and this is a technique from the 90s before we had embossing folders. So I'm just barely roughing that up. And so because this is, I didn't want any of this to show, that's why I cut it. It's even more than a smidge less. I wanted to be able to mount it. And none of these are cut exactly. I just cut 5 pieces out of this. I just laid it in my paper trimmer and just cut 5, all different sizes. However they came, that's how they were. The shiplap in my bedroom, my husband did it, and it's all exactly the same size. He looked up what proper shiplap is, and that's how it's cut. It's made shiplap, and it's stunningly beautiful, but this way on the card, it has a little bit more depth to it. So just kind of drag your scissors along. You could probably stand doing every other piece if you don't like doing this, because once one piece has it, the one next to it's going to be show that it has it. But because the one underneath it is a little bit larger, I mean a little bit smaller, then there's no chance that this is going to show underneath it. So I'm not doing the rough up like we normally do where you're getting a lot of texture. I'm just doing it enough so you can see that there's definitely pieces on here. So you can see how that's working. So one more. On my first sample, I've made a couple of changes because this card's it's not a lot of work. There's a lot of coloring. So once I made it, I was like, oh, my shiplap pieces are a little small because there's 4 on the first one, a little big. So I cut these to 5 because the scale of it, the shiplap in our bedroom is large and large panels, but this is a tiny fireplace because it's not a real size. So there you have that. And then on my first one, I hadn't cut this small enough, so part of it was sticking out. So I did rough up the edges. I'm not going to rough this one up because I don't need to. If you do end up having something, because I like this showing on the edge. Let's go ahead and mount this all together. And there you have your background. Now as we get pieces ready, we can go ahead and stick them on here. So then here's my piece of shimmer white, and I'm just going to use this. It's not going to take the whole thing, but I just had a sheet. I've mounted all the pieces that I'm going to use on here. And I have my memento. It just makes it faster. I just figured out everything I wanted. On this one, I'm adding the clock. I don't have the clock on my first one. I had the lantern. And space-wise, I couldn't make it work. So I didn't use the lantern. And then I thought, well, there's a little bit of space on my mantle still. So the clock will fit. So we're gonna add the clock to this. So just ink that all up. Stamp it onto here. And when you do this, when you have so many stamps on one big block, it saves a lot of time, but you do want to make sure that you stamp everywhere or press everywhere. So there we have all that stamped. And then there are pieces that we are just going to run through the die machine and then color, but it's far easier to color on this. And I didn't get a piece of scrap paper out. Color on here when they are big and not cut them out. Grab a piece of cardstock to use for scrap because this is going to soak through. So for my fireplace, I went with soft suede. That's why I used soft suede for the back and bronze. So those were the colors that I went to color this in. So I took my bronze. I'm gonna show you how I did it and then I will finish it. So for my bronze, I used all bullet tips. And in all these little panels, I just went in the corners just to kind of give it some highlights. And then the dark soft suede, oops. I did the same thing. And the dark soft suede is darker than the bronze. So with this, I just kind of pulled again everywhere where I wanted there to be highlights of dark. Like that. So my light's going all this way. And then I just colored it with the light soft suede. So I'll do this part and then I'll come back and show you how to finish coloring it. Here, I'll do this one because you can see that it will disappear. So you can see now that it's disappearing there. So I'll color this in with this soft and then I'll come back and show you how to finish coloring that. Okay, so here it is, and all I've done since you last saw it was add the light soft suede. So I'm going to go back now with my bronze and kind of get those corners a little bit more, because the bronze is a different color, so it really shows that it's a different color. And you can see that I did leave white spaces. Kind of pull that in. It gives it the bronze gives it a nice antique look, that nice farmhouse look. Now I will tell you, I was tempted to color it gray and white for the farmhouse look, and I may do that in the class. We may do the gray farmhouse looky one for our Christmas mantle, but because this was fall, I liked the brown with this. And again, now I'm going to go in with the dark. So here's the dark. And it really gives a nice shade to that. And you can see it all blends in because they're blends. And you don't want all this that's here that's looking streaky. We want that to all disappear in a minute. A little bit there maybe, and a little bit there. Just a little bit there. Now you can see it looks kind of messy, but when you take the light one again, and you just kind of swirl it around, those will disappear. And this is why I left this nice and light, because I wanted to have some space to work with at the end. But you can see right here, when you color on that and blend those in, and you can get that to all disappear. And then it's shaded and not splotchy. Because I left that little white space there as I color this in. There's not very many stamps that we have where I feel like I have enough space to give you a tutorial to really see what's happening. But see, here's white here. So now as I just drag over that, it has a nice light spot. And here you can see where this is really dark, and you can see a definite, there's dark and here's not. But as I color over this, I can get that to disappear and all for it to kind of go into one. And then just barely brush that. And then it has a nice blending spot. So there we go. That looks nice and antique-y. So there's our fireplace. Now I don't know what color I'm going to color the clock. I realized that as I was coloring a second ago because I haven't colored it yet. So I have, let's get the vase. This little vase here I did in granite. No, I did in smoky slate, I think. And for it, I did it real simple. A lot of these things coming up are now super simple. So I did one here of the dark, and then the little bottom. And then I did light here and here. And let's see, I did crumb cake for the wood. So here's the dark. And just blend it with the light. We're really kind of letting the fireplace be the star of the show for this card. So there's the wood. I need that one again for something else. And then the pumpkins. So with the pumpkins, of course, we went with pumpkin pie. So let's do the dark. For the dark, I kind of just traced where the lines are. And then smudge over them with the light. Get that all to blend. And then I did take the Cajun Craze, I think. Yeah, Cajun Craze, the light Cajun Craze. Kind of added some with that. And kind of blend that in. And then I'm going to take the dark Cajun Craze and just get one little streak of a highlight on that. I'm going to blend this with the darker pumpkin, because this is going to go on our little framed photograph. Or I kind of did it so it would look like a cross stitch. And then you do need to get your stems with something, but they're super tiny, so it doesn't really matter what color. Oh, I guess I have my gray granite because that's what I colored my lantern in that I didn't use. So let's do the clock and gray granite. So this is the dark. Gray granite's a nice color because it's kind of gray, kind of brown. It's kind of a cement color. Let's do the outside in that. I'm going to use the middle, maybe the brush tip, to get this middle bit here. And then we'll just leave the center white. And then one last piece for this are our leaves. And so for the leaves, they're super tiny, so you don't need to do a lot with them. I took the dark, let's do dark peacock, and I just dotted the inside of the leaves with the dark, and then take your light, and I used the brush tip, just so I was barely touching it, and go around with that. This is the only one where the bleeding is an issue because of the way that the die cuts them out. And then this is raspberry, I think, or blackberry, raspberry. And again, hit with your bullet tip. And then your brush tip. The brush tip just allows you to barely color. So it keeps it as light as possible. And then I have cherry cobbler. I think these are the colors. I didn't look at them. I pulled out what looks good, and then I tell you the colors. I want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing. So bullet tip and then brush tip. This card's a lot of fun to do. And if you were making several of them, what I would do is like stamp them all at once and then color like all of the leaves. So you're not just coloring 2 leaves cherry cobbler at one time. Okay, now we're gonna cut this out. One of the classes I have coming up is using this machine, and you'll only be able to take the class if you're on my team or if you buy the machine from me. But if you buy the machine from me, you also get your pick of a free folder when you buy the machine. So here's the fireplace. We're gonna use these little banners. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick those on there. We need one little fire. There's 3 fires, but we just need one. We need the picture frame, and then the inside of the frame. And then we need our pumpkins, but I'm not gonna put everything on here at once. The vase. I think I'll do these and then I'll get the rest on the second pass because we can't get it. I don't want to mess with trying to get them all on at once and then having them move. So roll these through. Okay, so I've cut everything out, and then I wanted to show you, this is the frame, and then this cuts out of the frame. So you could use it like this, but you do get this other piece that cuts a frame that's large enough that and then you have something that you can mount that on. So I'm going to use this one, and I want the frame to look like it's a kind of like a cross stitched or a painting of the pumpkins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these before I put my cut and emboss machine up. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of my pumpkins. Stick them just right here in the middle of that piece. And then I'm going to take the embossing folder that's of the In Good Taste Suite and put that in there. And then it takes the gray number 4 plate and just send that through. And then it gives it that texture that makes it look like it's now on fabric instead of just paper. So now we have all of our pieces. We do need to color a couple more because we cut those pieces out that are no longer, that were just pieces and not like the frame here. So this one I want to be, let's do it in soft suede since that's the color of our card. Let's do it in dark. Oops, and we can do that with the brush tip because you can do it fast. I think I did my other one in light and I thought it could stand to be a little bit darker. I like when you do 2 cards, one right after the other, because you can switch it up a little bit if there was something that you didn't care for, like adding a clock. And then we have our little fire flame. So I have some, I think I'll do that last. I think this is daffodil. You could do whatever colors really. And again, you don't have to color the whole thing on this because we're gonna mix them a little bit. Then I threw my pumpkin pies over here. Let's get a little bit of pumpkin pie. And I'm just using the brush tips because I don't want any of it to be overt. I don't want it to look like it's burning our house down. A little bit of dark pumpkin. And then I think this is dark mango. Oh no, this is light mango. And for it, I'm gonna use the bullet tips so I can kind of blend those. So that's enough fire for us. And then the last piece that we didn't get colored are the fun little little banners. Look, they even have little stitching where they've been stitched up to the string. And I just want these to look like colors of fall. So I have dark Cajun craze. And again, I'm going to use the brush tips just so I can barely brush some color on them. And I'm just going to brush some of the banners. I'm not going to go, makes me feel like I'm in Ireland whenever I see these. We were there a couple of years ago, right after, well, we would have liked to have been there for St. Patrick's Day, but you know, it's really expensive. So we got there on the 18th, but all the towns had all of their banners up everywhere. So I got those. Let's go with one more color. Let's do, I thought I had Rococo Rose down. I guess it was the Calypso Coral. What other color did I use? Let's do a Right, Cajun Craze. So I'm just brushing these on here. And then I'm going to take my crumb cake just to make it look like the string. And brush that over the top. And you need the other tip. So if you use this tip here, then you can kind of make that disappear where you went over the top. I know you're all worried about the fact that I'm using a piece of cardstock. It's okay. I can make this cardstock into something else. Don't worry about it. My scrap paper is over where I couldn't reach it when I started the video. There we go. So now let's just mount this all together, which we've already done this piece. So let's start with the fireplace itself because we know that that is going to be centered down at the bottom. And you're just going to use some seal. It's going to go down here. And then you can put your logs on. And the nice thing about this is you can go back at any point and add some color if you feel like anything isn't quite standing out the way that you wanted it to. And I'm not going to quite press that on all the way because I want my flame to go underneath my logs. That way I can still lift this up. And once I have it where I want it, then I can press those down. Then I'm going to take my banner, and I debated, the glue dots are kind of big for all these. And I even thought about, sorry, using our adhesive for the back, but I wanted it to have some lift. And if you use the adhesive, then everything's just flat to the card, and I didn't want it to be flat to the card. And the seal works fine, so I'm just getting it on the ends. Just sticking that, because see, then the flame's up, some of our banners are up, and I didn't want the whole thing to just be there. I'm going to take my leaves. They're really designed, I'll tell you what they're for. They're designed to go on these, on the sticks. So see, you can put them here. So your leaves, your stems have the leaves on them. But I wanted to do something else with my stems, and I have leaves laying all around my house. Well, I will after Labor Day. It's like white shoes. I don't decorate my house for fall till after Labor Day, because the only reason I give up summer is because there's fall. Because I love having my outdoor office. I sit outside almost every day from the time I'm done filming and sit poolside. It's really hard for me to give up summer, but I can because it's fall. So I'm going to take my vase and put my adhesive on the back of that, and then add my stems here. And I'll put my adhesive here. Whoops. So we don't decorate for fall. We're not, and you have plenty of time, because we decorate from fall. I don't do Halloween until October 1st. And then I don't do a whole lot of Halloween now that I don't have a child living at home. I'm gonna put this part on first, because my birthday's in November. It's sometimes often on Thanksgiving. So I have lots of Thanksgiving decorations. So sometimes that's the only holiday that I kind of squish up there on. Is sometimes I put my Thanksgiving stuff out a little before Halloween now that we don't have kids here. Add my frame and then my clock. See, this is what was missing. I have this space on my other card that I haven't filled in, and there's a little bit of space down there. There's also some candles. I did think about the candles. Put this here. And you could put candles there. I'm huge on not overfilling the things. And then a few years ago, I did this technique on the watering can. When the cotton stem things were all the rage everywhere. And so if you feel like I stole this idea from somebody, it's okay. I'm stealing it from myself. Because after I did it, a lot of people did it. And it's just a cute little idea. So it's just a cotton bud or a Q-tip, or sometimes I can't remember. I know we call them Q-tips. Cotton buds, I think, are Aussie. Sometimes I can't remember what weird words. We attended a funeral via live stream for one of our dear friends in Australia. And they said cemetery. And I'm like, oh. Because I can hear an accent for about 5 minutes and then it's gone. And I like when I can hear it, but when they said cemetery, I'm like, oh yeah. When it's a different word, I can hear the words. I'm just adding a tiny bit of this. Again, the glue dots for some of this stuff are just a bit too big. And this you can get just a tiny bit. So just take it and kind of wad it up. You want just a little piece. So it looks like a tiny little cotton bud. Just roll it into a ball. And that video that has these, I'll try to find the link and I'll put it over in the blog post, because that was, again, when the blends were fairly new. And it seems from memory that I do a pretty good how to color with blends thing on that video. Maybe. It seems like I do. That's a long time ago. So there you go. Super cute. Here it is without a clock. And a lighter frame and bigger shiplap. So fun farmhouse card. If you're interested in taking that class, we will do Halloween. So it's got a quick sign up. I wanted to get it up sooner, but I've been fighting that registration system. But we will do Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and a New Year card. They may not all have the fireplace. Because, you know, you can do a lot with the set and not include the fireplace. There's a little wreath, there's a reindeer, there's the little bats. So many things you can do with it. It's a fun set. So, or you can sign up to be on my team, and then you can just get all the classes for free. There's a great sign up special in September. So everybody have a great day. Bye.